All right, so our math objective for today will be I will be able to create an argument for my conjecture. So you might not know exactly what I mean when I'm talking about argument and conjecture. We're going to be going over those terms in a little bit. But think of argument as you know how when somebody might say, please don't argue with me, right? Um, Basically what that means is don't continue to prove why you're right. Okay. So what you're going to be doing today is proving why you're right. And so the more detail you give in an argument, in any case, is more likely that your argument will be believable. Okay. So we'll go over more in a little bit. So write a factor pair for each of these numbers. Now, a lot of these actually have more than one factor pair. So if you can think of multiple ones, you are more than welcome to put them on here. But at least do one factor pair for each of these numbers. And a factor pair on the previous lesson is when we're talking about two numbers multiplied equal this number. So for instance, two numbers that would equal 12, would be 12 and 1, or 6 and 2, and there's actually one more. So those are just some options that you can do for each of these. Okay, so here's our math message today. Miss Soto is setting up chairs for math night. Her room cannot fit more than 35 chairs. She places the same number of chairs in each row. As she sets up the chairs, she makes up a problem for her class with these clues. Clue A, when there are 2 chairs in each row, there is 1 leftover chair. Clue B, when there are 3 chairs in each row, there is 1 leftover chair. Clue C, when there are 4 chairs in each row, there is still 1 leftover chair. Clue D, when there are 5 chairs in each row, there are no leftover chairs. So those are our clues. And then we have a student, Joy. One of Miss Soto's students makes a conjecture. That's one of our words that we're going to go over in a moment. That Miss Soto set up 13 chairs. Work with your partner and use the clues to make a mathematical argument for or against Joy's conjecture. You may draw pictures or use counters to show your thinking. Explain your reasoning. So here are what these words mean. A conjecture is a statement that might be true, educated guess or claim. So for instance, Joy's guess onto how many chairs there are in the room is 13. An argument is mathematical reasoning that shows whether a conjecture is true or false. So, Joy, we already went over this. She believes that she set up 13 chairs. What does the problem ask you to find out? Okay. And your answer is right here. What information in the problem do you need in order to find the solution? What do you need in order to find the solution? What can we learn from clue A? Clue A says when there are 2 chairs in each row, there is 1 left over. What does that tell you about what the number needs to be? What does clue C tell us about Miss Soto's chairs? Clue C says when there are 4 chairs in each row, there is still 1 leftover chair. What happens when we set up the chairs in rows of 5? Clue D says when there are 5 chairs in each row, there are no leftover chairs. Okay. So, what is Joy's conjecture? What is her guess? And put it right here. How could you make an argument to show whether Joy's conjecture is correct or not? Well, I can give you a clue for this one, okay? the way to make an argument is through mathematical reasoning. So what you need to do is see if that guess 13 chairs fits the rules. Okay? So, your task. Make 2 different conjectures for numbers of chairs in Miss Soto's setup. So, now that you've looked at what Joy did, now you have to make your own guesses. You have 2 guesses to do. Use the clues to make mathematical arguments for or against each of your guesses. So your guesses don't have to be right, but you do have to prove whether or not it is correct. So here's a problem. How many chairs did Miss Soto set up? The same clues are there. How many chairs do you think Miss Soto set up? And here's where you're going to put your 2 conjectures. You have to put one right here and one right here. And remember, the room holds no more than 35 chairs. So if one of your guesses is 45, you already know that it's not correct because this is the part that says it is not correct. So use the clues to make a mathematical argument for or against your first conjecture of blank chairs. So when you go back to this one, you say, here's my first guess, here's my second guess. Now take your first guess and put it up here, and then tell me why it either works or doesn't work for all of those clues. Okay. Then your second one, use the clues to make a mathematical argument for or against your second conjecture. So whatever you put in the second box here is going to go right here, and you're going to show me your reasoning. Why does it work? Okay. Or doesn't work. How did you show your thinking about whether your conjectures were true or false? So this is, what did you use to see if your guess was either right or incorrect? Now, this is a 2-day assignment, okay? So we're going to be going over your answers tomorrow, whether or not they are correct or incorrect. So please don't put too much pressure on yourself to get the correct guesses for this problem, because we're going to be going over it tomorrow as well, and you're going to have more time to go over your answers and complete them. But like I said, your guesses don't have to be correct anyways. As long as you're using correct math to show me your reasoning, then it could either be, you're either proving that it's correct or you're proving that it's wrong. Either one of those is going to work, okay? So we're going to be moving on for our English language arts. I hope this makes sense to you. Please reach out if you have any questions.